Welcome back to another video. So today I have a lot of juicy information to share with you guys, and this basically happened because I was in a call with Sean and Preeti, the lead developers for cosmetics in Valorant, and we were talking about the butterfly knife, the recon skins, and then I kind of overstepped and started asking other questions. They were more than happy to answer, but after that I had to talk to Riot. They gave me the green light to share this information, but I can't show you guys any visuals or audio clips, so you're gonna have to deal with my lame gameplay in the background as I talk to you guys about things I know and a little bit of the inside dig. There's a lot of exciting things coming, so let's get straight into it. So while it's still hot, fresh, and in our minds, you guys know the butterfly knife came out to great success, despite some people not liking it or some criticism. You know, it crashed the shop. Like, the shop literally stopped working, so it is safe to say the butterfly knife was a success, which is good news for all of us because I asked Sean a super important question. I said, if this butterfly knife is really received well, would you guys consider making another, but maybe with a fantasy theme? Like, kind of like this guy had a glitch pop knife. We've seen the ion knife, a lot of concepts. They look really, really cool. Like, it's a cool way to do a butterfly knife. And I basically asked, would you guys consider making a second one based off of the first success? And Sean's reply, and this is quote for quote, I transcripted it. He said, yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said in the beginning, we just want to make sure we're delivering what players want and expect. Consider this the base skin, and from there we can figure out if there's a sci-fi for this or some crazy transformation. We can go nuts with these types of things. But I think we just wanted to make sure we were delivering to players the thing that we hope they were asking for. So for the hundreds of comments that I've been seeing asking if there will be another butterfly knife, yes, eventually there will be. This was way too successful for there not to be another butterfly knife, and yes, they would and are open to look into sci-fi options, ones with crazy transformation, effects, etc., etc. Something that fits the craziness that we're used to in Valorant. But what they wanted to deliver with this initial butterfly knife is for people who just want a butterfly knife. Like, keep in mind in the subreddit for the butterfly knife, the people who do this in real life, they were praising Valorant for how realistic it was compared to CSGO with the slower animation, and it wasn't very realistic. So despite the criticism, what they nailed on the head was a real butterfly knife in Valorant. And if in the future we get something like glitch pop butterfly knife with crazy effects, you still have the option to just rock a butterfly knife, just its basis. You just want to play and fiddle with the thing. You don't want the thing to look amazing or super cool. You just want those animations with no effects covering it. That's what they delivered to start. That's why he referred to it as the base skin. He liked to explain this as archetypes. He said, once upon a time, the prime axe was the first axe, and then the axe became a archetype. Then they made the prism axe and various other axes. Same thing happened with the sovereign sword. That was the first sword. It became the sword archetype. Then we had the song steel and many more. This the same thing with the reefer knife. You know what I mean? There's archetypes. So this base butterfly knife just became the first archetype, and now they have the ability to make more with much more ease. So yeah, to wrap up the first section, future butterfly knives are a go. Now the next thing is super exciting. I mean, to me it is. Some people might not care, but they actually mentioned on their own about a skin customizer. Like, he just kind of blurped it out as we were talking, and then I heard him say it, and I was like, wait, let's talk about that. And I asked, like, is it coming? And I can't say it's 100%. This is a huge disclaimer. Nothing in this video is final. These are just devs talking to me. It's just a discussion. But they did say he is really pushing for a skin customizer. So the chances of it coming are very, very likely. Of course, not 100%, but very, very likely. And there's a lot of interesting information to do with the skin customizer, a lot more than I actually initially thought. The first thing is, how detailed or in-depth can the system be? Certain systems like Call of Duty, where you can die and customize while waiting to respawn, is something they won't do. Well, for first, he said they don't have the memory budget to do things like that, and it's just something they can't do. On top of that, they wouldn't want to do much in-game because that would hog resources, and anything, like even the slightest bit of hit to memory and performance, will factor into something like this, and they just won't do it. They won't do something in-game that would hinder or take up resources. That is not like... Right? Valorant is Valorant, super competitive. They want to keep it as clean as possible. That won't happen. But there's a lot of other things and other approaches he was discussing with me. One was attacker versus defender. So you'd set up a loadout for your attacker side and a loadout for your defender side, right? Maybe you only use the op on defenders, so you'll have your favorite op skin on defender and you have your second favorite on attacker. I don't know. It's a cool concept. It's my least favorite one that he talked about, but it is still pretty cool having an attackers versus defenders side, different loadouts, and when you switch sides, it would just load in the other skins. The other approach, which is my favorite, is actually character loadouts. I really love this approach. So let's say I main Reyna, Jett, and Yoru. When I pick Yoru, it'll default to a loadout I have selected for him that, centers around white and blue skins. And, Jett may be very similar, but then Reyna, I can have all my purple variants be enabled. So that's super, super cool. That was my favorite iteration. Now, that's not the one that's coming. He's just spitballing, this is literally where he's just spitballing ideas. Like, how do we want to do it? It's still like, it shows how early in the development this thing is because it must still be on paper, right? They're just still getting ideas. They're gauging how to go about it. But I don't know. Something like character loadouts is a pretty genius way to go about it, in my opinion. Another big thing is actually how many little things there are to this. Like, I was telling him that I thought it would just be a basic version. You star all your favorite skins and variants, and then every game it just shuffles them. That's kind of how I thought. But then he said it goes a step beyond that. He talked about the buddies. Like, what would we do with the buddies? How do we shuffle the buddies? And even maybe sprays. How can we shuffle your sprays to match certain things? How do we make it super coherent? So while me and the rest of the community are like just randomized skins, they're really thinking, right? In the end, that makes a lot of sense. We're always like, it's easy, Pepega. But then they actually go into detail, think of a lot of different scenarios and situations on how to use it. And, mad respect for that. But in the end, they're pushing for it. Highly likely it's coming, and interesting variations are in the works. So yeah, that's some information there. The next thing we talked about is pretty simple. It's actually super short. I just asked, will there be a new Elderflame tier? Something super expensive, super crazy. I mean, we're literally holding a live dragon. And Preeti responded, not right now. And Sean said it took us a long time to make Elderflame, and it will take us a while longer to figure out what that level of skin will be. The concept, the guns, everything. Like, it takes so much work. I think Elderflame, they said a year or close to a year, over a year. I don't remember exactly. It took a long time to make Elderflame. So right now, nothing is in the works for that tier. And the reason I asked that question is because I was curious about their skin prices and delivery. So I mentioned that the butterfly knife being 3,550 isn't too bad because I thought, based off of the hype and the demand, like, let's be honest, between you and me, they could have probably made it an Elderflame tier and it would have been super expensive, like 55 some thousand or whatever, and people would have bought it because it's a butterfly knife. People were really hyped for this thing, and they actually explained that it's never about gatekeeping. And it's just about giving as many players what they want. Like, they're serious about that, right? Like, that's why the butterfly knife, it of course won't come at the cheapest set, but it came at the lowest high price set, right? 7,100 is the lowest high price set. 3,550, it wouldn't have been lower than that. That's the lowest they could put the butterfly knife based off of their business model. Of course, they don't control the business model, but that's how they did it. And that's the most accessible it'll be in Valorant. So, kudos to them. It just goes to show. I mean, it makes sense. That's why the Prime set was 7,100 one. The very first one, Prime 1.0. They know they made a banger. It's timeless, and it still holds up till today after all the other skins. And it was at 7,100 with all those effects, unique reload animation, etc., etc. So they do try to put a lot of effort in that price point, and they're not gatekeeping anything super unique, which is interesting. I mean, the Elderflame knife isn't super, super unique, right? It's a pretty common archetype with just the flames around it, and it was just more about the guns. So yeah, the way pricing is an interesting thing, but they do want to always try to give the players and the masses what they want. So, respect to that. But that wraps up the video. That's all the information I had. Hopefully in the future, I'll be lucky and grateful enough to have more discussions with these two, get more information, relay a lot of new things to you guys, as long as, of course, they're okay with it and they enjoy it. And yeah, let me know what you think about everything in the comments down below. Make sure to hit that like button, consider subscribing, join the Discord, and I'm going to plug my Twitter. I've been having fun trying to grow that thing, so follow the Twitter. I'm giving away the butterfly knife bundle still. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.